Hi, it's Ronnie, and welcome to a Punched Out Thursday to Die For, where we'll all be using our punches and/or our dies to create a layout. And it is also Baby Got Scraps, where we use one 12 by 12 paper and our scraps, or you can use a smaller paper pad, just so it's not a 12 by 12. And for today's layout, I'm going to be using 3 photos of my grandson and they're Christmas ones, so I am going to be using Christmas dies here. I have that tree and that cute tools little mouse. I have some alphas for my title. I'm going to use that stitch die frame, and most of the paper is Vicky Booten's, well, what is it? Something in Fernwood. Y'all probably know. Anyway, Fernwood and Holly, maybe? But that paper that's behind the photos that looks kind of on the busy side, that one is Echo Park because I was using scraps and I couldn't find a Vicky Booten one that would match all 3 photos. And I put them all on the side. I do have them matted 3 times. And since I'm going to use black in my title, I wanted to have some black on a little, uh, just a tiny bit on the frames. I And I use scraps, of course, on my little mouse here. And I used 2 different browns. I got one out and decided he was way too dark. So I got one that was a little bit lighter brown. It took some digging to get the lighter brown one. The other piece was quite a bit bigger. But it was big enough for my mouse, so I used it. I did went ahead and did that part of the hat because it had those little tiny pieces. Knowing me, I'll lose some of them. So I went ahead and glued those little tiny dots on there. I ended up using the same colors that was on the picture that I showed earlier. However, there is a whole nother set of pictures with different colors. But, I was doing Christmas and I wanted the red and the green. I'm going to take a second to figure out how those little ear insiders go on there. I did ink the mouse and the ears and several things. I didn't ink it all. This was like over several days here and there working on this. And I guess I just got sidetracked when I was there one time and didn't ink for a while. So I will be doing some inking on here. This is a absolute cutest die set. It has each piece numbered so you know what you're going to put where on the sheet that comes with it. And so since there is several little critters in there, you can keep them all separated so you know what goes where. The eyes have 3 layers, which, I think is totally cute. I'm going to use kind of like it's a tealish blue for the colored part of the eyes. And I will be inking it with peacock feathers, the oxide one, so that the outside will just be a tiny bit darker than the rest of the cardstock. And if you look on the mouse, you'll see that like the little feet there in the front, they're inked. It's because they went ahead and had a cut there, so that you can pop them out just a little bit and ink them. I oh I'm not done with the eyes. I am still working on them. And besides the blue, of course, it has the black for the pupil. And they're nice and big. So, like I said, super, super cute dies in this collection. And all the little extras and all the little layers. So, and it did come off of Amazon. It kept popping up last year sometime, and I have got to get that. That is just too cute. Um, and I do have a baby that's got several babies in the set that is by the same company. But it need turning out to be the cutest little thing. But while I'm finishing them off with a few berries and the white highlights, I want to mention that down there below you'll find the links for everybody else that is doing the Punched Out Thursday to Die For. and they will be using their punches and dies also. Oh, and I forgot to mention I did put 3 layers of black cardstock underneath the nose so that it would come out just a little bit farther than the rest of his face. Oh, I forgot the antlers. I started to put them on the wrong sides, opposite, but I did notice it and did get them corrected. It, I guess it's part of the hat because we can tell he is a mouse. He is not a reindeer. There is a reindeer in the little die set and a moose and 2 teddy bears. Well, bears. I don't know if they're teddy bears or not, but yeah, 2 bears. Looked like maybe a mama one, a baby one, or daddy and baby. Whatever you wanted to make it, I guess. Now, my plan here was to put the mouse and the tree up there on the viewfinder, but I will be changing my mind pretty quick on that. Guess I'll tell you about the pictures while I'm doing some inking and a couple other things. But those are my oldest grandson, so he was the only grandkid I had at the time. And this was Christmas, and you know how it is. First grandchild, everything you see you want to get for that kid. And so yeah, he got several Christmas presents from us, and I didn't bother wrapping them. I just let him wake up and see them that way. And so they were all sitting right there when he woke up. So the first one, I said his name, so he turned around and looked. And then, of course, I had him trained. If there was a camera, he is supposed to smile. So you did see him stop and smile twice because he seen the camera. And I wasn't even a scrapbooker back then. Oh, this tree, it comes with a set of 2. I did get it off Amazon too. I figured a mouse-sized tree for my mouse, but it comes with a plain tree in the background, and then the one you put on top has little cutouts all through it. So I put little teeny tiny pieces of foam tape on each one of them so they wouldn't be laying flat, and they'd stick out a little bit since they are cutouts. And then I inked them with white ink so it looked like a little bit of snow on there. And my ink did dry before I got back to it. After I remembered the white ink, I forgot at first. But I figured I'd go for the dusting of snow on my tree. The little mouse, I was going to set them, like I said, up there on the viewfinder, but then I was going to set them down in the corner. I thought, man, they look kind of funny here down by themselves. So I went ahead and cut out that gift, but I didn't want it to go all the way across. So I cut part of it off and I did ink the edges on it since I had the tree and the little mouse inked already. And my title, part of it came from the Vicky Blethen, it's Holiday Magic. But then I wanted to put "Oh What Fun" down there with the little mouse. Not that he actually looks like he's having fun. When I was putting the title down there, I thought, oh man, maybe I should have created a smile instead on him. It comes with the little mouth, just barely open. And so I put the black behind it, which I pointed out. And there's eyelashes too. And I don't think the eyelashes show up near as good as the mouth, but the mouth does. However, I did use my little uh, pick tool there and make it just a tiny bit bigger. But if he had been smiling, though, what fun would look even better. But he's still cute. I oh, I used some of the gingham from the 6x8 paper pad of Vicky Blethen's for the little holly leaves, and so they wouldn't be just kind of plain Jane. And then the same scrap that I used for the tree, I cut little pieces to put behind the part that cuts out in the center that looks like the branches. I worked on this for several days and trying to get it done. And the dye for those little ornaments, I don't know what I've done with it. I'm sure it's between some papers. When I clean up, which I haven't done yet, I'll probably find it, but that's why all you've seen in there was some others that was die cut out. And I cut them in silver well, both mirrored pieces. One was silver and one was red. But these colors went a whole lot better with this layout. So I cut it out in red, but then I backed it and trimmed it, fussy cut around it with the scissors at an angle so that I could have the yellow behind it to match the yellow in the poinsettias and the little teeny tiny yellow dots on his hat. And if you feel the texture of them, you would be able to tell that the scrap that I use for the ornaments and the ones I use for the little tiny dots and the centers of the poinsettia, they're different. They're really, really, really close to the same color. I To look at it now, I can't tell the difference, but if I touch it, one has texture and one does not. So one's a whole lot smoother than the other one is. Because I'm using Scraps for Baby Got Scraps, and that is hosted by Kristin, and it's Kristin Crafts here on YouTube. And there will be a list of everybody down there below that are participating in the Baby Got Scraps. They're not doing it every day this month, just whatever days that they can. And I participated, I think, the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 4. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 4 years. This is the 4th one. So lots of ways to figure out how to use up your scraps. And I, the last 3 months of the year, I try to make sure I don't use up all my scraps. I'll use something else because I have a tendency to use my scraps a lot since I cut out die cuts from dies. So I made sure I had extra so when this month came, I wouldn't have such a hard time finding it. Because one year I did. Um, I wasn't really planning on putting a little cluster down there by that photo when I left that gap there. I just wanted to make sure some of the gingham was showing. But since it is kind of like a space there, I decided to go ahead and put a cluster down there anyway. I'm going to use that star punch up there on the right. Well, I did use it. I went ahead and punched some of the stars out. And since I made that extra cluster, I'm going to come up a bit short. So I will have to cut a few more out, punch a few more out. But that little squeeze punch, I think it's Fisker's. I got it at Hobby Lobby for like $1.25 one time on clearance. So, and it works pretty good. It's not hard to punch anything out of there. The front side of that piece of paper is the presents, the little gifts. I guess it's borders. And then the back side is that really pretty yellow. And it's kind of distressed a little bit and ink splashed. So it has a variety of yellow color when you punch out the stars. It's not exactly a plain yellow. And if I could have found more of the yellow I used on the other things, I would have used it. But yeah, that shade, I was getting, I guess, pretty low on it. Let's see. There's my completed layout. And yeah, I just love that little mouse. It's just so, so cute. And see, there he is up close, and he is adorable. See how his little mouth is? That cuts out when you cut the whole background out. And there's the poinsettia, and that's Pinkfresh. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. And it comes with a large and small die to cut out with, so your back flowers are bigger. But I never use the back one. I just layer the front one twice. And there's the ornaments. I love those little ornaments. I found them on Amazon. I keyed in Jingle Bells cutting die. So they come up with several, but that's the one I like the best. If you leave a comment below, I'll try to get back with you. And if you like the video and hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. And those of you already are, thank you so very much. And thank you all for watching my video today. I appreciate that too. And be sure to check out Punched Out Thursday Gals and the Baby Got Scrap ones too. The links will be down there below. Have a happy scrappy week. Bye.